Hi everyone, welcome back to week 2 of Masquerade, the 4-week identity shift. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope you're all having a wonderful day. I'm really excited to get more in depth in this program. So last week we talked a lot about the pillars that are like my key pillars to success in business and in life. So just to kind of recap that, number one was really facing fear and going into life with a fierceness and a bravery and pushing past things that feel sticky and that feel hard. And then it was that action and implementation. So really putting action forward, tangible action forward to have the things that we want in life happen. And then last but not least, really leading in with that confidence. Confidence is so key to everything in life because it is what provides results. It is what sets you apart from the rest. It's like how you get to that top 1%. You don't even it's how people perceive you in the world. It's how you even perceive yourself and an inward way. So it's really important. And the more confidence that we build over time, the more resilience we have and the more things that we go for and the more opportunities that just pop up in our life. So really important stuff. Okay, and this key philosophy is you don't get what you want, you get what you expect, and you are what you expect. So let me kind of put an example out there. So what you want is what you say you want. What you expect is what you subconsciously at a deep level are actually deep down in there expecting what's going to happen. And a lot of times those can actually mismatch, and we don't even identify those until we look deeper in. So for an example, lottery tickets, like if I were to ask you, would you like to win the lottery next week? All of you are probably going to say yes, right? And then let me ask you another question. How many of you, let's just say, for example, how many of you bought a lottery ticket? Maybe none of you did, right? You want to win the lottery, but you expect already that you're not going to win it. So you didn't take the tangible steps forward to have an opportunity to actually win the lottery. You see what I'm saying? I'm saying there's like a difference between wanting and expecting something. So I want you to remember that moving forward when you're kind of navigating through life and be like, okay, expecting versus wanting, what am I doing here? If you really, really want something, take a look inward and like see, are you expecting that that's actually going to happen? Or is there some kind of deep retaliations happening there where you actually don't expect that that's actually possible for you or that that's actually going to happen? When you truly, truly, truly expect, which means when you truly, truly, truly believe in something, that's when you put action forward and that's when things happen to you. So I wanted to kind of leave you with that to start week 2. And I also wanted to let you know if anything has popped up since week 1, let me know in the WhatsApp chat. You each have an individual private one-on-one for the time during this 4-week course. So take advantage of it. Yeah, we're going to lead into week 2. So this is where we're going to go into a heart-led business strategy and branding. This week is really going to bridge your newly clarified strategic brand development that we started to touch on last week. And that's where we're now going to learn how to translate your authentic self, your authentic brand and voice into compelling elements that are going to resonate with your ideal audience. And we want to do this on a deep emotional level because that's how we make things translate from media to sales. We're going to dive into psychology because this is, I always like to touch on that. This very important parts. Sales is very much in line with psychology. And we're going to do this so that, you don't only understand who your clients are, but you should also understand like why they should deeply care about your offerings. And we're going to touch more on that. And then this insight is going to allow you to craft messaging that actually connects rather than just converting. And sometimes it doesn't even convert. So number 1 is audience clarity. So this is where you define who truly benefits from your unique approach. So this is where we're really getting clarity on like who is your ideal avatar is what we call it. Now, your ideal avatar is the perfect person who would benefit from your services. So let's put this into perspective of an aesthetic clinic practitioner or owner. Maybe you niche a little bit in a certain area like acne or pigmentation or body contouring. So who you want to paint the picture of, like, who is the ideal person that you can help with what you're bringing forward into this world. So let's just do acne as an example. If I had a clinic space and I was passionate about treating acne and clearing acne, my ideal avatar would be someone who has acne, obviously, and then someone who, like, you really want to like work through, okay, like someone who has acne, what else is with that on an emotional level? So this is someone who's probably struggled with this for a long time, emotional. They've probably tried many different things and a lot of it doesn't work. And, it's really like, it's a 360 approach. So you know that this person may not just know what to do to get the results, or they're frustrated, they're overwhelmed. And what they really need is a solution. And a solution is a multitude of things, right? Because it can come down to gut health, it can come down to skincare and devices and different protocols. But in your capacity as a practitioner, what can you do? So, what you can do is you can create unique protocols that are going to address um, as many of the pillars as possible to help someone clear their acne. Okay, of course, in a clinic, we always want to be doing combo therapy. So I'd create a branded protocol for clearing acne in, let's say 90 days, because usually it takes 4 to 6 sessions of something with stacked treatments, right? So I'm just going to use Aerolase Neo Elite as one because I've had a lot of experience with that one. So this is a great laser device, a 1064 YAG that is great for treating acne. So that's going to work on the dermal layers of the skin, working from the inside out. Then we want to stack the treatment with something that's going to be working on texture. So the surface of the skin, the more outer epidermal of the skin. And what I would do is I would combine either like a Procell or a skin pen microneedling, some kind of micro channeling to really target the surface. So we're basically going to be lifting everything up and getting rid of the debris. And then what I would even do in that, depending on what I have in my clinic, like what I personally do, because I'm passionate about wellness, is I would try to integrate wellness into my clinic. So I would maybe have partnership with a vitamin line, like a supplement line, obviously like medical grade skincare, and I would incorporate this. So I would have like a 6 session protocol because they need 4 to 6 sessions. And then we could talk about a maintenance package after that to do like every quarter, whatever the protocol is for what you're doing. And I would also combine like supplements on with that because we want to work from the inside out. There's usually like a gut issue going on there. And just so you know, I actually saw something the other day that I found interesting. So there's a company called Persona where you get like customized supplements that are individually wrapped in this little like to go like little plastic like candy wrapper. And it's customized vitamins to your needs and what you want to focus on. And it's like mailed to you and you just rip it off every day and you take it. But they also partner with businesses who want to incorporate that. And I thought, that'd be really cool for a clinic to have, like to offer, especially if you're targeting something like acne, because it is deeper rooted with gut health and things like that. And then you're able to offer a more comprehensive package. Like clinics that I've seen do really well is like when they are doing more 360 approach, they're either partnering with nutritionists or personal trainers or things like whatever it may be, to really offer that comprehensive approach that's actually going to give them the results that they need. Because it's usually not just one thing. It's not just laser. It's not just skincare. It's a bunch of things. So that's what I would do. I would create, I'd really think about who's my target avatar. What are their needs? What are their concerns? What's their problem? And now what's my solution? Okay, so now that brings us to brand narrative. So what that means is you want to craft your compelling origin or purpose, your story, your journey. It's really important to really explain that to your audience and to your people. It's a part of your brand and it's a part of you. And it's how we, again, bring that human-centric approach into our company. And that's how we connect with people and really reach them at a emotional level with a certain level of depth, which creates trust. And people only buy when there's a level of trust and safety in what they're doing. So that's a way that we can do it. Really show who you are as a person. You're more than a company. You're more than a brand name, a clinic name. What's your story? Why are you here? What do you want to do? What's your mission? What's your goal? And people connect with that. Then it's a heart-centered messaging. So heart-centered messaging is when you really develop your narrative, your language, and that's going to build on the authentic connection that you have with your people. And what that really means is like talk from your heart. Everyone sounds like a robot these days, especially when we're in a sales capacity. We're trying to sell our services, we're trying to sell products. We've been told from our reps what to say, how to sell things. But the thing is, the way we say something should be different than the way they say something. And we just want to really steer away from sounding like robots, right? So how we can easily do that is to remember, just bring the heart into it. Always bring in remember why we're here, what we're doing, that passion, and lead with that. And then that brings us into strategy integration. So that's where we're aligning our vision with practical brand implementation. So, we're talking a lot about depth and emotional connection and all of those things, but that's one side of it. And then the other side is we actually do have to have some strategy. And this is where we kind of go from feminine to masculine energies. And it's good to have a combination of both in business. So feminine is more creative and flowy and speaking from the heart. And then masculine is more okay, here's the strategies, here's the playbook, here's structurally how we're going to do things. So it's just remembering okay, this is all good, we're really understanding the avatar from a human emotional level, but now how are we going to draw in strategy to implement that to actually pull it all together and make it work? So there's a bunch of moving pieces to really get your clinic to that $1 million and above mark per year in revenue. All right. Okay, so let's talk strategy integration, because this is an important piece, and we've talked a lot about more of the emotional stuff. So this is where you transform your authentic vision into those tangible brand elements that are going to curate your ideal clients and reflect your true purpose and vision in the business. So I kind of broke it down into 4 pieces. One is that vision alignment. So this is where you ensure every business decision reflects the core of your purpose and values. So if you have a notebook near you, this is a good exercise to kind of do along. I want you to write out first of all, your mission. What is the mission? What do you set out to do in this world with your business? That's what your mission statement is. Usually 1 to 3 sentences. And then I want you to put your vision. Your vision is what you see, what are the results of what you're doing with your business? What's the vision of it? And I want you to write those out. And then I want you to write out and reflect on your core purpose, which is similar to your mission, but I want you to write it out. It's good practice. Your core purpose, and then write out 3 to 5 values that are very strong to you personally and within your business. So that might be something like trust, transparency, leadership. Those are different kinds of values. Okay. Let's move on to client experience. This is where you design touch points that are going to embody your authentic brand promise. So now that we are figuring out our mission, our vision, also write this down. What is the promise that you are making to your ideal avatar? So that could be something like, my promise is to always deliver at a 100% of my full heart and skill. Everyone's is a little bit different. So what is your promise to your clients? Write that down. And now that you've written this on paper, it's out there, it's in your mind. And you really want to think, okay, so how can I continually remember to connect the dots on this? What's my promise? And am I always staying aligned to that promise? Because as long as you're staying in aligned to the promise, your vision, and all these things, you don't have to worry and stress about all the other moving pieces. Once you're in alignment with these things, it just happens. Everything just flows. And then that takes the stress and overwhelm off, because it's just, we've done the foundational stuff and we set it up. So then that's the adaptation process. This is where you establish systems to refine your strategy while preserving your authenticity. So systems are really important as well because they are going to really make things easier, save us time, and it creates organization. Like it creates a nice flow within the business. So some things that I would suggest to a clinic owner would be 100% automating your social media. Like, it can kind of be fun uploading on a day-to-day basis. Like I actually enjoy it. I do that too. But I also make sure that I have all my posts set up in a content planner to make sure at least one post is going out per day that I don't even have to think about, that I don't even do. And then I know over like the long term 5-10 year vision that I'm on the right algorithm. So we need to touch on different levels of content, psychology, emotional, sales, lifestyle, right? So I know that that's done and that's out there. And then when I post on a day to day, it's just more for fun. And it's important to keep like that fun aspect into it. So that's in terms of systems. And then we want to make sure like we preserve our authenticity. So what that means is like we can, especially in this day and age, AI is so prevalent and chat GPT and things like that. It's great to utilize these resources, not great if we're replacing the human side to it with that, because yes, it saves time, but we lose that voice. And the voice is like our voice is what is going to sell our brand and our vision and how we attract the right clientele that we're building in our client base. So make sure we preserve our authenticity by like, if you're going to utilize these systems that we have available to us, which is, I think is great to do that, use chat GPT, but you have to make sure that you're reading over it, you're tweaking it, and you're really making it your own. It's great to foster new ideas, but not to just copy paste, in my opinion. That's what I would say about that. So this really brings us into the next slide, which is heart-centered messaging. So, when we talked about like AI, ChatGPT, things like this, it's so easy to get our voice lost in the midst of it and utilizing these different things that we have available to us. But it's so important that we remain to have our authentic voice and communication that really reflects what we're truly delivering here with our business and the type of people that we want to attract, which is like our people, our community, our tribe, they call it. You don't want ChatGPT's community, you want yours, because in the long-term game, 5 years from now, when you've built a really like a very strong structured foundation in business and your business is thriving and it's continually up leveling and the revenues coming in and like you have more ease and flow and all those things, it's with the right people, and that's how you get there. You don't get there from just taking the easy route. And then so speak your truth. Like when people are talking, they're often scared to talk on camera, which I totally get. It's a big fear. A lot of people don't like doing it, and especially if they aren't doing it a lot, it's like stretching a muscle that hasn't been stretched in a long time. We have to build confidence and get more used to it. So it's just putting yourself out there and just doing it, and then you get more and more used to it and more confident with it. But that is important in the aesthetic space. And when we do get in front of the camera or even in person, like anytime you're in front of someone representing yourself and your business, you want to speak your truth. You want to really communicate in a way that reflecting your genuine passion for why you got into this business and your purpose. And that's how you continue to attract those aligned clients, which is so important to do at the beginning. 95% of the people that I've worked with coaching clients, 95% are people who are in year 1 to 3 of their business. They come to me and like, Kayla, I'm completely stagnant. I'm getting like 1 to 3 clients a day. Like I need to get booked out and I can't. And it's like, why? And the main reason usually is because somewhere along the way, they lost that alignment with who their core true clients are and should be. And a lot of that comes down because either they weren't showing up online or they just were copying and pasting chat GPT and it was like just not resonating with the right people, or also in conjunction with all these things, wrong strategies, like just going based off pricing and not bundling properly, not pricing properly, And then you just start attracting those people that are just looking for the cheapest service on the block, and they don't stay with you. They just clinic hop and all the things that we don't want. And that's why it's just so important to just always remember to stay aligned to your vision, your mission, your purpose. Why are you doing this? What are you passionate about? Who are you serving? What are you wanting to do here? It's just always got to be like putting that in the back of your head. Like when you're talking to people, when you're writing things on social media, and then that keeps the alignment. Okay. And then connect, don't convert. So this is where you want to focus on building relationships rather than transactions. People are going to invest in your why. Like, why are you doing this? And that, again, see, like all of this coexists with each other. Your why is your purpose. It's your mission. It's why you started the business. It's why you're passionate about this. It's what you're wanting to do here. So you want to focus on building relationships with who are equally as passionate about acne and clearing acne as you are. And that's going to be people who have acne, because people who have acne have been doing trial and error for years and years on end, and maybe their entire life, as to what works, what doesn't, what triggers it, all the different options. Like, it's a big part of their life, and they become passionate about it, and they need help. They want a solution. You have that for them. All you have to do is build conversations on this shared passion. And that's not selling, but it translates into sales transactions. You see what I'm saying? Don't even go into it thinking like, I need to sell this person. It's too much pressure, and you start attracting the wrong kind of energies. Go into it thinking, I'm not even going to worry about the sales and if they purchase, because money's the byproduct, remember? And I'm going to go into it with, I just want to have a fun, light conversation about a shared passion of mine, because they're going to be intrigued to talk about this just as much as you are, because they're experiencing it in their day-to-day life. And from that conversation, you're not directly selling. You're not saying buy this. You're talking about the subject, and it leads into money is the byproduct, success is the byproduct, your service. And then emotion drives action. So this is where you learn to communicate benefits that are going to resonate on both logical and emotional levels. So we're leading in with passion, we're leading in with conversations, and then the logical part is where we've done our due diligence to really understand the science behind our offerings. So, here in BC, it's a little bit different as to everyone's background in this space. It's an unregulated industry here in this province. So people can get well, first of all, you don't even have to be licensed to be a medical esthetician and to work a laser. You kind of have to be certified on the device, like not actually, to be honest, but device companies say like, we're certifying you on it. It's not a legal thing, but it's more like, from the laser company's perspective, like, we're only selling you this device once we certify you to use it. But this is not like from the province of BC law. It's an unregulated industry. I know in Ontario it's regulated. I'm not sure about the other provinces or in the States. I'm pretty sure in the States it's regulated. But anyways, my point with this is that everyone has a different level of education and experience. And not to say that that's bad, it's okay. But we need to do our due diligence to make sure that we're really understanding what's on a logical standpoint, the science behind the devices, the skincare, and how that all works together, so that when we're leading through passion and emotion and human connection, we can also tie in logical scientific facts, because that's important, right? Like, because it is the human body, this is our skin, and there is a component of that. So the passion and all of that is how we connect psychologically. But then as a practitioner, we do our due diligence by bringing in that logical point where we've done our research and our homework to really tie in what actually works at like an anatomical or physiological point, right? So just making sure that we tie that in as well. Okay, so now for brand narrative. So your story isn't just history. It's the heartbeat of your whole brand identity. So we're talking a lot about identity in this program. This week, you're going to be crafting compelling origin narrative that authentically connects your purpose with your audience's deepest desires. Okay, so with this topic, there's a little bit of homework if you choose to do it. And that's going to be the living document. So you can see at the end here, there's living document. So that's something that we're going to put together as we're talking through this. So get your pen and paper out. And I want you to just write down what comes to mind. And again, of course, Pause this if you need a minute to kind of think about it, or you can always write out what I'm discussing with you to talk about and then come back to it after the course. And you might even write something and then kind of reflect on it and come back and change it up a bit. So this is going to be, you can title it brand narrative. Okay. First point is your origin story. So we already touched a little bit on this, but let's really keep layering out and working through it, because the reason I'm getting you to do some of this that's a little bit repetitive is because we need to do it that way, because sometimes it's like repetition to really like refine things. Like you might change it a little bit each time. Sometimes it's like writing it out and using different parts of our brain, auditory, visual, like it's all part of the process. So your origin story, transform your personal journey into a meaningful brand foundation. So here I want you to put, what is your origin story? This is your why. Why did you open a clinic or start a career in aesthetics? I want you to put your why here and pause this if you need to. Really think about that. Like why, like deep down rooted, like why did you do it? It might just be to make money, but there might be something else in there. It might be a couple things. But why is usually like, there's usually something like at a human level there. Like maybe it was like because you experienced acne growing up and it really deteriorated your self-confidence and it caused a lot of challenges for you. And then when you cleared it, it was like a huge success story for you that one thing led to another and it completely changed who you were and how you showed up. And you want to gift that to other people in the world. Then that goes to values integration. So this is where we're gonna weave those core principles throughout your narrative with intention. So remember, we kind of talked about this earlier. So the values. So you can write out again 3 to 5 values, and they might change again. Values are what do you value the most in your company that's really important to you. So again, that's like trust, transparency, expertise, things like that. And then you want to move on to your emotional resonance. So that's your storyline that's going to foster genuine audience connection. So I want you to put here emotion, and it's the emotion of what your ideal avatar is experiencing. What do you think? We're going to stick with the acne example. What do you think someone with acne, what emotion are they feeling? Put 3. Is it sadness? Is it embarrassment? Is it disappointment? Is it stress? Is it overwhelm? It's probably a very hard thing to deal with. Not for everyone, but for some people it is. So like what are the top 3 emotions that you believe that they're experiencing? And then the living document, this is the living document. So this is a living document that we're going to implement now into your new identity and how you're showing up in your business and in your life. We really need to refine over and over again these points and integrate it into our brain. And repetition just makes it second nature. And that's why I'm having you kind of do this over and over again, because it's not a one-stop shop. This is something like, and this is why I love like working in a coaching capacity with people, is because it's really a long-term vision. You need to completely surround yourself with this kind of content and these exercises every day. It's not just one time and it's going to change your entire life. It's a lifelong project. But this is the start, and this is the foundation, right? So it's great that you're here and you're doing this, because it is a part of this process and like where you're going. And just like a side note on that, because this is what I'm passionate about, is coaching people in a long-term capacity and like really being at your side as your partner through business and life, and just being that person that you can trust and be there with. And like I can be the person like that goes through it with you. And when I'm with my coaching clients, sometimes we're talking about business, sometimes we're talking about life, partners, experiences, like challenges. That's what coaching is. It's like, it's just someone who's in your corner to just go through life with you, and your business is your life. But aside from the coaching, I am going to be opening up a new container soon, which I'll just let you know right now. So there's a coaching container, 6-month one-on-one bi-weekly coaching and resources, and Monday to Friday WhatsApp support. And then I wanted to create one more pillar. So there's that. And then I also have a 90-minute intensive where we dive really deep into all the gaps in your business. Like we kind of have an in-depth conversation, like a 90-minute long conversation where I can really get to understand where you're at, And it'll identify gaps, and it will make a roadmap as to like your reoccurring revenue roadmap is the most important things that you need to implement to your business today. And then with that, I provide a week of email thread support so that once we talk about this and I help you formulate that roadmap, as you go through it, you're going to have questions and you're going to run into things. So you get that email thread to go back and forth with me every single day if you want, and really just like implement it and make things happen. So I have that as so we have that 90-minute and then the coaching container. But the new thing that I'm going to be starting, because I wanted to make a more like a very easy, lower cost option for so that anyone can have access to this. Because at the end of the day, like that's my goal. And I want to be able to help as many people as possibly possible, particularly female entrepreneurs. Not there's something anything against males, but I just, my heart sets up for females because yeah, I don't know. It's hard, like what people go through. And I was like a single mom for a long time and went through it all. So I'm really passionate about that. But anyway, so this program, it's not a program, it's a membership that I'm opening. It's going to be $99 per month. So like an entry point that's pretty doable for most people. And it's going to be a vault of access to all my resources, plus access to new resources every month. So every month I'm going to be releasing something new, whether it's a masterclass or a course or ebook or like something with a different topic, and releasing it into the vault. And already existing in the vault is tons of stuff. So if you go to my link in bio on any of my Instagram accounts, you can see there's a bunch of courses listed there. They range from $199 to $499. I have tons of ebooks and checklists and formulas and yeah, tons of stuff there. So, and just more and more to come. Every 30 days, there'll be something new released. And that is a 12-month container. But yeah, I just wanted to make something that would be super juicy and fun and still be able to help people, even if it's not in a one-on-one capacity. So let me know if you have any questions on that. I'm excited to launch it in probably the next couple weeks. All right. Now let's talk about the audience clarity. So this is where you're going to like pinpoint exactly who resonates with your authentic business approach. And it's going to transform your marketing from guesswork to that magnetic connection that we need with people. When we have that magnetic connection, that's where we have people in our DMs asking us questions, inquiring. There's something drawing them to your content, and that means you've hit something. It doesn't sound robotic, it doesn't sound like copy paste chat GPT. It sounds like you're connecting to the pain points. It sounds like you have discovered the solution to their problem. All the things that we're talking about here, right? So when you start to get those DMs, that's when you know it's working. And then that's step one, getting DMs. They're magnetized to you. It means your branding messaging is working. The second part to that is closing them. And that's a whole other thing. I have a course in my vault actually on like selling, because that is like a huge issue I find with clinics is like they can get great ads and lots of responses on the ads, or they can just have like a lot of people messaging in their DMs, but it's the closing part that can be hard. So I have different techniques for that, and a whole course that lays it out. But basically, we're talking about identity right now and brand messaging and all of that. So, everything that we've talked about here, that's going to put you in alignment so that you've built a magnetized connection with your people that's going to attract them to your brand and want to inquire and come in for services. So first, we talked about this. You want to identify that ideal client. Look beyond the demographics to discover who truly thrives with the unique offerings that you're bringing to the world. Then you want to understand their core needs, uncover those emotional drivers behind their search for your solutions. So we talked about that, right? Like with acne, what are they really feeling right now? How can we help them with this? How do we connect with them on a level where they're just going to be like, send me the link, sign me up. And you do that when you connect with them on an emotional level. So when you're talking to them, when you get inquiries, when you're going back and forth in the DMs, this is the moment that's going to decide if you close them, how you navigate that conversation. Are you just going to go straight to booking them and explaining what your offer is? Because most of the times that's not going to do it. They'll probably just stop responding to you and it will be left stale in your inbox. Don't talk about explaining the service or trying to close the service. Talk about, ask them questions, get them talking more than you're talking, uncover what their needs are, and then you can come in with the solution. But first, you just want to, again, remember, talk about the passion, get passionate. We're talking about acne. That's why you're in this business. That's what they're passionate about. They're trying to heal their acne. Lead with that. And then they'll be asking you for a link to close. You don't even have to close them. They're going to close themselves. That's where we want to get. Then it's create authentic connection. So again, this is where you are crafting that communication that speaks directly to their deepest aspirations and challenges. How we can do this in person, we know how to do that. Talk with the heart. Don't sound like a robot. Talk to their pain points. Talk about the connected passion, and then the sale will come. If this is in DMs, I highly recommend talking through voice note if you can. And through email, it's just knowing to speak to the pain points. Okay, so designing an aligned brand identity. So your brand, it should be a genuine reflection of your values, personalities, and your unique approach to business. In this session, I would love for you to create a comprehensive visual and verbal language that authentically represents who you are and what you stand for in business. We're going to explore how to establish uncharted territory in your market through bold, original positioning that differentiates you from the competitors. Because this is very important. You need to stand out with your brand. And there's so many clinics out there. This authentic differentiation is far more sustainable than trying to outperform others on their terms, right? So what you can actually do with this, and I was saying don't use ChatGPT, but I don't expect you to color a picture. So you can use ChatGPT and basically just say, I want you to create like an authentic visual on my brand identity. Make a graphic for me. I want you to create a visual representation of my brand identity. My brand represents, list the things we talked about. List your vision, your mission, and your values, and see what it comes up with. I think that'd be a cool exercise to do. Okay, and then I see I put, okay, visual language. Okay, so then also like everyone should have a branding board. If you don't know what this is, I put a photo over here under visual language. Branding board is like the one-pager rule book of everything that you are putting out there for your online identity, right? So it should be cohesive. It should have, you should pick 3 to 5 colors that are your brand colors, 1 to 2 fonts, and just an overall theme. Like, is it natural? Is it colorful? Is it bohemian? You know, like it can be like, what's the vibe of it? And I want you to create a branding board like this. Yeah, that's a good example of it. So basically, you know what, that's what you can do. You can go into Canva and you can actually put branding board, and I'm pretty sure they have templates that you can just fill in and pick your colors, put your logo in there, and have fun with that. And of course, this can evolve over time, but it's good to have like a one pager out there so that you have a branding board. Like you have like whenever you're putting content out there, you always reflect back to, I got to use those fonts, or I've got to use those colors, because it will look a lot more professional if you do that. And you know, brand evolution. So strategic founder alignment of the transformation from visible to unforgettable, where your authentic self shines through your brand and magic happens. Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So, you know, doing these small little tweaks really make you stand out, and it actually establishes you as a real brand. When we start just putting stuff out there, like creating our identity online, if it's mismatched and all over the place, that's not a true brand. Like a brand is something where like when it's a vibe that's consistent and cohesive, and when someone sees it, they're like, oh, that's Kayla Petrosek. Like, or, you know, that's whoever. So like for me, like I want to be known as, my brand is like very fierce, and like I like to empower women, and like I'm not scared. I go for things. So it's a little bit bold, I guess you could say. That's my brand evolution. That's what I want to be known for. So when you see my captions, like it replicates that. And then we have visual language. So this is where your visual graphics connect with the actual words, like the captions that you're putting out there. When you have aligned graphics and copyright to your core values, you're instantly going to be recognized for this brand that you've evolved into. And that's how you also just really connect with putting the human behind the brand. And that leads into like the emotional level of everything that we're building here and everything that we've talked about in terms of coming into this new like identity. When we are putting this together, there are some things to think about and to look at. So we talked branding board, like picking colors and fonts and stuff, like just the template in Canva. But as you're doing this, there's a couple key pointers. So color psychology, so it's a thing. You want to select palettes that actually evoke your brand's emotional essence and that resonate with you and your mission. So you can this is something that you could use ChatGPT for because there's like a psychology actually behind colors. Different colors mean different things. So what I would do is like, hey, ChatGPT, I'm trying to create 3 to 5 colors in my branding board for my business. I want my business to reflect power, like whatever, empowerment, being bold, leadership, like whatever it is for you. And tell me and say what colors represent these values. Something like that. And it will tell you. And then also like your fonts, choose something that don't worry about what it should be, what it's this really comes down to you and there's no right or wrong. If you prefer like cursive, fun, or more elegant writing, then that's up to you. That's really you. That's your brand and that's your vision. Like so whatever feels fun and enjoyable for you, then do it. Because at the end of the day, as we're building this out, what's going to perform the best is really just what you have the most fun with. And that has nothing to do with what you think it should be. It's just what you want it to be. There's no right or wrong. And then it kind of move into the visual storytelling. So that's where you curate imagery that captures your unique perspective and creates consistent emotional response. So, with graphics, they need to be visually appealing. You don't want to be using tons of stock images. And you want to make sure that the content is doing all the things that we've talked about. So really connecting on the emotional level, connecting to pain points, really positioning as like, here's the problem, putting it out there. This is the solution. So just making sure that we're doing that in a way that is going to get that emotional response that we want. And emotional responses don't come from stock images. So now verbal identity. So this is, where we want to craft and, basically craft and what resonates with your ideal clients. So the signature language, this is where you develop proprietary terms that instantly distinguish your brand in the marketplace. So do you want to come across as professional, bold, funny, friendly? There's tons of different things. Like, what do you want your signature language to be? And actually, why don't you add this to the paperwork that you've been putting everything on? Because this is actually something that you can put on your branding board as well. Is like the voice tone. And this is actually good to start thinking about and like write down because if you do use ChatGPT to kind of foster some ideas, it's a trick that you can do is put it in this voice, like professional, friendly, bold, whatever you want it to be. That's the same thing, authentic voice. So we talked about that. If we want to, bold or playful, whatever really connects with who you truly are. We're not trying to be someone else and there's no right or wrong. What's going to perform the best again is like what you truly want and is fun for you. Because at the end of the thing that's so awesome about having a business is that we get to do whatever we want with it. And when we do whatever we want with it, not thinking what we're supposed to do and who makes that rule book. No one does. We do. We make the rule book for our business. Then that's when we have the most fun with it, the most enjoyment. We attract the right like things to us. And again, money's the byproduct. It will come. But remembering like the goal at the end of the day here is that we want to live a fulfilling life that we enjoy on a day-to-day basis. And then with that, of course, success comes. That's like the biggest principle I can teach to anyone. And like what I've seen with anything, coaching clients and even myself is sometimes we can forget the fun side of business. And then when we do and we get stuck in the muck of the stress and the overwhelm and we've lost the playful fun side of it, the results will lack. So yes, there's going to be ebbs and flows. But when we find that alignment of getting back into like waking up every day excited, not stressed about money because we're just having fun. And then there's like a shift that will happen there. Again, it's like identity shift, a shift where the business is going to start growing, clients are going to start coming, and we just have fun with it. And we just focus on the positive, don't focus on the negative. Whatever we focus on, whatever we feel is what comes back at us tenfold, right? So even on the hardest days, if we can just find one thing to focus on that's positive, that we can show gratitude to, focus on that, and then you'll attract more good energy to you. I'm very big on like energy. And one little tip that I was reading a book today actually on this is like when you wake up in the morning, it's just reminded because we want to be bringing gratitude into our life as much as possible. And like it can sometimes like life can get stressful and it can kind of shift away. And it's like a continual reminder that we do this because the more gratitude we bring in, the more that comes to us. When you wake up in the morning, you put your one foot down, your second foot down. So remember, thank you. Just say thank you. Thank you for waking up to this beautiful new day, for your health, for your vision, for your hearing, for your family, for your business, right? Saying thank you to the world for being here right now in this moment. Yeah, and just find all the little moments in life where you can just be thankful for it because we're not here in this body forever, right? So it's just grateful for every single breath. Anyways, that got deep. But yeah, it really is important. So the next one is resonant messaging. So crafting words that speak directly to your audience's deepest desires and challenges, right? So pain points, what are they experiencing? What do they need from me? And curating your content, your wording, your brand to that. And, you know, when you're discussing all like this with like putting this all into action with clients, you just want to make it as natural as possible. At the end of the day, this is just feeling like, what do I want from this world? What do I want for my business? What am I passionate about? What's my mission? And I'm just going to live that out day to day and not worry about anything else. Everything else will fall in place. Like, of course, there's other stuff that we need to worry about, like strategies and like finances and all of that. But all those pieces we're going to work on. But the main thing to focus on is like, I'm showing up every day, fulfilling my mission, serving what I want to serve in this world, and having fun and being passionate about it, and going in light and like feathery and like fun. When you show up that way, so much goodness comes back to you. It's like, and sometimes we forget like how we're showing up when we're stressed out and going through so many things. Like it's really hard not to, but we start showing up in a certain way. We have a certain tone. We have a different kind of response to people without even knowing it, right? But like when you think about it, like it's knowing like a bystander in your life, if they're stressed out and overwhelmed all the time, are you magnetic towards them? Like not in a sense that like you might want to help them, but like does that magnetize you? Probably not, right? What magnetizes you is someone who's light and fun and joyous and sees the light in everything and is just living on a day to day, like really doing what they want to do and just having fun, like laughing, love, like those things is what attracts humans to humans. And just remembering those core principles, like that's what if I were to tell you one thing to do in your life and business to help you, it's like show up with love and laughter and just have fun with it. And then the rest falls into place. Okay, so we're just wrapping up here. And I wanted to leave you with one little quote. Our anticipation is the co-creation of our results. So I'm going to say that again. Our anticipation, what we anticipate, is a co-creation of our result. So this ties into how I opened up this week's module. What we anticipate, what we expect, is going to co-create the results that we have. So I end with this because I want you to make a mental note. What am I actually anticipating is going to happen with this? Could be anything, could be your business, could be tomorrow, could be this course, like it could be anything. What are you actually anticipating the result to be? And if you uncover that you're actually anticipating, like let's say, for example, with your business, you're not going to reach your goal of, I don't know, $20,000. That's not, I don't, everyone's at a different level. If you're already expecting like, yeah, no, this was my goal. I want to make 20K, let's say by the end of July. But if there's already something subconscious there that's like, no way you can actually do it, or it's not really possible, or it's probably not going to happen. If those are the voices coming up, that's where we have work to do, because it's a co-creation of the results that you're going. All of that matters. It's so cool, honestly. All this stuff blows my mind. But psychology is so insane. And it's like all these subconscious blocks that literally create our reality. The thing that, and the reason I bring this up so much is because there's so much material here for us to work with on our life and in our life with this subconscious psychology stuff. So I'm telling you this so that when you're going on your day to day, you come across things where you're like thinking like you're making goals or you're thinking about tomorrow or next month or like what's going to happen with something. Think about, what am I actually expecting or anticipating to happen? Deep, deep down. Do I actually expect or anticipate some doubt? You might, and that's okay because we all do. But that's where then you've identified where there's work to be done. And then that's when you will realize it's not going to happen because that's what's holding you back. Okay. I love you guys. Thank you so much for today. We're halfway through. Yay. On the week 4, because it's the last week, I'm going to take my mask off because it's like, I wanted to wear this for fun, but also like, it's all like the identity shift. And then the last week is like where we take off the mask and we're like this new version of ourselves. So that was the whole like symbolic idea behind it. But of course, let me know if you have questions. I hope that something here hit. If you even got like one golden nugget that you can take with and that helped you, that just makes my heart so full. Yeah, I think just really like take this all in the heart and think about like even one little small change that you can make on a day to day. Don't expect to move mountains because you don't want to have set yourself up for like some kind of failure. But think about like if you even got one golden nugget, like I said, one thing that you leave with today that landed with you and moved something in you, or maybe sprouted an idea or just made you feel something like good. Those are the little things that completely can change a trajectory in your life. It's the small things. It's a small mindset shift, motivation, strategy. They've been from the branding, from this and that, but try to think about like one thing from today. What is my one golden nugget that really like struck a string in me that I'm going to take with me and implement in this next week moving forward into week 3. Okay. I'll talk to you soon. Bye guys.